Welcome back, Guardians. So this was going to be a 3-in-1 build using Winter's Guile, the Karnstein, and the Claws of Ahamakara, but when Winter's Guile was on, even with Brawler, it went away too fast, and with Claws of Ahamakara, once you do your 2 melee charges, it just keeps recharging again as if you only had 1 melee. It kind of just didn't make a lot of sense, and I don't want to put like some BS build out unless it's like a game-changing build in my eyes, which the Karnstein one is, but I think it's going to be more effective whenever Shadowkeep launches, which we can modify it once Armor 2.0 drops. So let's get into this build. It's going to be a universal subclass. Let's talk about the stats of this build first, and we'll go over the subclass I'm going to be using that I recommend. So 717 is going to be the build, 6 plus traction is 7 mobility, so it's 717. We're getting away with the 7 recovery because of the healing properties we're going to have, and Top Tree Void is the subclass we're going to be using. It's almost like you have Devour with the top tree instead of having to use the bottom tree, so you get the better super, and now that Skull of Ahamakara is nerfed into the ground, you can use other exotics with Top Tree Void, and it makes it really come alive. So in Tropic Pool, it's when you get half your grenade back on a melee hit, and also you have the ability to charge your grenade, which I recommend the Vortex Grenade. That's the most powerful one. Let's look at some gameplay just so you can check it out. This is one of the main reasons I like these type grenades, because you can throw it at your feet and the enemies are all swarmed to you, and then you do the melee to get half the grenade back. We're going to be using demolitionist weapons because it is recommended to make this shine the most. If you don't use demolitionist, the recharge rates just aren't as great with it, and it really requires that to make this exotic become worth using. Bloom is the other subclass perk. Void ability kills, cause your enemy to explode, and then we have Cataclysm. Nova Bomb travels slow, seeks and detonates, and shatters into small projectiles that blow up everybody else. It's just the best super for the Void Nova class when it comes to boss DPS. Now let's talk about the 2 weapons I recommend when using this build. Austringer, Triple Tap, or Demolitionist. Just make sure you have Demolitionist and whatever other perk, and Demolitionist on an Epicurean or a Wizened Rebuke, whichever one you want to use. Now let's get into some gameplay just so you can kind of see what the recharge rate is like when you have Demolitionist if you've yet to get this gun yet. Bam, that easy. Now let's go over the armor, the stats, and how you put it all together for the right ingredients to balance and recharge. Starting off with the helmet first, since you're going to be getting a ton of grenades, you can use enhanced ashes to assets. You get a huge bump against yellow and orange bars, as well as a small bump against red bars, but not nearly as much as light reactor and pump action. So if you're using demolitionist with those weapons, that's also a good choice, but enhance is also not bad either. 1 mobility, 2 recovery, and an impact mod, whatever menagerie mods or finders and scavengers you want, based on the weapon choice you're going to be choosing to load out with. Now on to the KARNSTEIN Armlets. So the stats on these gauntlets aren't that great, that's what puts you at the 717 build, but use a grenade charge mod on here, and I recommend momentum transfer or impact induction, but since you get a ton of grenades, the impact induction isn't as needed in this build, so you can actually get away, and I've been preferring using momentum transfer in a lot of situations, but we'll talk about other situations as the video plays on. Every time you do a melee kill against an enemy, you get a huge bump in your health back, and it also constantly keeps recharging for a short duration. Around 5 to 6 seconds is what I've been timing it out at. But you can see right here, every time I hit a grenade against somebody, I get 4 seconds off the melee charge, and we're going to be using a total of 3 impact mods, which is going to take us to a 44-second melee, and then with the 4 seconds off, you can start getting your melees back faster and faster with all these grenades that you're going to be getting over and over because of the demolitionist weapons that you're going to be using. And like I said, if you want to do impact induction, completely up to you, but if you buy the collection tab version, they come with momentum transfer, and like I said, it's not a bad idea on this build, considering the amount of grenades you already get. You don't need much help from impact induction, but getting that entropic pullback even faster is a half grenade charge, so not bad at all. And you can see right here with the Vampire Caress, recharging my health over and over again, and with the 7 recovery, makes the bar build up faster. So once you hit 7 on any kind of stat, that's really when you start noticing a huge change, except for the resilience, which is just garbage in PvE. The chest piece, 2 mobility, 2 recovery, an impact mod, build it out for whatever weapons you're going to be using, as well as the scavengers and finders or whatever you're going to be using that matches your ammo type. Moving on to the leg piece, 2 mobility, 2 recovery, a grenade charge mod, and then whatever finder and scavenger you want. That's what's going to get you to that 7 mobility with this build on. And then finally recuperation and whatever finder you want, mixed with another impact mod. That's 3 melee mods and then 2 grenade mods. Here's where you can screenshot it to keep it on file, so you have to keep coming back. You can just have this in your phone, that way you can piece it all together without having to keep hitting play and rewind and all that stuff. I'm going to start doing that with all my build videos. just so you can have it on file and it's way more easy for you to access it. When Shadowkeep launches, if there's going to be stuff like in the Dark Below DLC a few years back in Destiny 1, where you're surrounded by a ton of enemies and maybe you can't walk around because you have weight on you or something like that, kind of like the Thrall Maze, this would be a great build for situations like that. And it's just a good build anyways, because you always get your health back, especially if something like Brawler is on. You're always going to have Entropic Pull Melee every 5 seconds with Brawler on, but without it on, you still get it back quite a bit. And when you mix it in with Demolitionist, with the Momentum Transfer, it really pays off there. I don't normally use Momentum Transfer. You'll notice most of my builds, it's always Enhanced Impact Induction or Impact Induction, but this is one of the very few builds where I actually do recommend Momentum Transfer over the Impact Induction, unless you know that you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be doing a lot of melees, which I'll show you a situation just like that here later in the video. It's kind of hard to capture gameplay using this exotic because it's not like I'm doing a ton of melees here. I just kind of wanted to show you just the flow of the build mixed with the Demolitionist, mixed with your grenade charges that you get from the Demolitionist. But the real cool thing about it is you get to use Top Tree with what seems like Devour almost, because you just keep doing melees over and over again. And with Brawler, whenever that's going to be on, I don't normally make mod specific builds, but it works with Brawler on or without it on, and you can't help but, you know, deal with modifiers because they're forced on you in the game. So you are going to encounter modifiers, you know what I mean, unless you're doing a Nightfall where you set it yourself. But like I said, sometimes you're just going to have to deal with modifiers and you can't really help it, but it suits you whether any mods on or no mods on. You have hella recharge rate. You can see right here, because of that 7 recovery, my health meter building up even faster. I wish they would bring it back to where if you just did a melee hit to the body like it was in year 1 of D2, where it would still give you health back. That was when it was really the best. But it's still not that bad, especially with the amount of health that you get and that constant recharge going over and over again. You could even pair this with the mid tree also, because that one still would give you health from void ability kills. So if you want to double stack that, or even use it with Devour, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but the fact that it will keep restoring your health over and over again, where with Devour you have to keep getting kills over and over, but after you get that one melee kill, you still have that 5 seconds of constant recovery going on. I use the Icarus grip on my Epicurean because it's not only good for when you're using in-air shots, but when you're just doing short hops, you're also able to get your gun on target better just from hopping one direction to another direction. Your handling just while you're in the air for that short period of time lets you keep lining target up over and over again. So it doesn't matter if you're completely in the air shooting it or just doing short hops and then landing, you can land with your gun completely on target. Here's the Vortex Grenade where you throw it down and just stand in it, let them all come to you, so if Blackout or something like that is on, you can protect yourself. And if you ever melee any kind of like little blights, such as this one right here, the Vampire Cuirass will also proc against that stuff. And here's that situation where I was talking about if you use Impact Induction, it's really good for these situations, even though in this clip I'm using the Momentum Transfer still. But you can see how it's constantly keeping me alive and regenerating my health over and over, even though I'm standing it all in this Taken Goo, where normally my health would be constantly getting chipped away over and over. So you can keep yourself alive in these close quarter CQC combat situations. Areas like this are what these gauntlets are really made for, when there's a ton of red bars around, or maybe you do have Taken Goo and there's blackouts on even. Keep getting that health coming back over and over again, mix it with your Demolitionist to pop those dudes out of the way. If you still want to use Winter's Guile or the Claws of Ahamakara with this build, it's the exact same build. You just basically put that on, put the Grenade Charge mod on, and everything else is exactly the same. I just couldn't find a reason to use the Claw or the Winter's Guile as much as I wanted to make them work. I kept having to go out of my way to try to make them work, and it just didn't last long enough to make it worth making a build about. But when you put these on with the stats, perks, and mods and put it all together, you'll actually be kind of shocked with Top Tree Nova Bomb at how well this build will actually play. It's a real subtle exotic, but it does do a hell of a lot of work in the right situations. I hope this video portrayed exactly how great that it is. This is actually the build that I've been rocking for the past like week or so, and I haven't been able to take it off yet because, like I said, it's real subtle, but it just works. I don't know how to explain it. You just feel even more beastly once you pop that one melee. You know that you're good for those 5 seconds. You can use those 5 seconds to prop the Epicurean and go on Beast Town. So again, my name's Ristophilis, dudes. I'm ready for Armor 2.0 to come out. Y'all hit subscribe, join the Beast Squad, click join, or if you want to show any kind of other support, teespring.com/Ristophilis to get some merch, or paypal.me/Rostopoulos to show any kind of donation supports. Y'all take it easy, Guardians, and I will see you next time.
In space.